Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you are having a great evening. Welcome back. So we've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Huge news in regards to Jeffrey Epstein. We got a ton of new information, and man, it is damning. It's actually putting some topics to, like, how do I say it? They put the lid on the topics, like it's a lot of conclusive evidence. We're going to be discussing all of it today because we really don't have any other news that really came out other than we did get economic data, half of it at least. We got the GDP numbers, but we did not get the anticipated PCE inflation data. So that is still up in the air for whatever reason. It's not being released. We'll be discussing that. Very minor Bitcoin news, and that's about it. Terrible volatility, no volatility today. Prices remained pretty stable between 88 to 86,000. No change there. Current price of Bitcoin, 87,566. Not a lot of movement, but I managed to take advantage of this low volatility, trying to prepare for what could potentially be a bigger move. I'm DCAing small positions in here, so I've made my first entry at 87,786. Arguably a little too high, but that's fine. I plan on DCAing a little more, a little lower, so that's all going according to plan so far. Yes, I know I already took a profit, but it wasn't too big of a profit. Still, it's fine. It was something good. So that position is closed. Also closed my Ethereum position. Zcash was closed. Was it closed live yesterday? I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it was, or it might have been even before that. I don't remember. Zcash is gone. Forget about it. Yes, I could have been making more profit on it, but it's fine. Ethereum, I had to take, I don't know, I went to sleep, but before I went to sleep, I changed the take profit from something way too ambitious to a 1-to-3 risk reward ratio. I don't even remember doing it, but it was after the stream that I did it. Something took over my brain and it just went over and added a take profit there instead. I woke up the next morning and the take profit was hit. So, and it was a decent target for the take profit. Might as well go talk about it right now since we're discussing it in detail. Let's go have a look. So Ethereum's current price, 2,959. It's down almost 2% today. Yeah, this is a good take profit, I feel like. Ultimately, we hit a low of 2,899, basically 2,900, and I sold at 2,925. $25, whatever, dude. That's fine. We're at 2,956, like I said, so we're higher than where we were when I sold, and I was shorting this, so that is profit, in my opinion. We're still in a downtrend, though, so you can't expect Ethereum to continue lower. I was originally putting my profit down over here, 2,800 something or 700 maybe, I don't remember, but I figured that was a little too excessive, so I must have just decided to modify the profit there. It's weird how I don't even remember what happened, but there it is. Okay, 150 profit, that's perfectly fine. Let me go back to Bitcoin here just to discuss some of the levels. The downtrend invalidation has not really changed. We're still looking at 91,000 as of right now. Due to this low volatility, and tomorrow we're also going to expect even lower volatility, markets are open for half the day. The day after that, December 25th itself, Christmas Day, markets are closed. So even less volatility. Like I said, this week is just going to be so boring. The only next important day would be Friday, which is the 26th. It's also Boxing Day here in Canada, so go buy yourself a new fridge after you bought a microwave on Black Friday. I don't know, man. And then that day is also a lot of contracts getting expired before the year ends. I guess it's the last one for the year. Every 2 weeks is when that happens. So they're saying that that could bring volatility. From my experience, I don't typically see volatility on... I know it exists, contract expiries, and we were supposed to get volatility, but it's usually pretty minimal in my opinion. It's nothing too crazy, like we're not going to move thousands of dollars on Bitcoin on Friday. I feel like it's just going to be a little 2% rise, if that, or a drop, whatever the case is. And that's it. I don't expect too much happening on Friday either. And then it's obviously Saturday and Sunday. Nothing is going to happen on those days. And even next week, what are we even going to expect next week for economic data? That's the only thing that could really move the markets. Nothing, dude. Monday, nothing is going on. Tuesday we'll have FOMC minutes, but we won't know what's happening until after the fact. And by then, you know, everybody's kind of packing up to leave because it's 2 o'clock p.m. and markets close at 4. I don't know. I know crypto market is 24/7, but it's the Wall Street. We've imported too much of them, and they're the main movers of the market right now. So we are at their mercy, whether we like it or not. This was part of the side effects of importing them into the whole space with the ETFs and whatnot. So after that Wednesday, nothing much happening. There's literally nothing Thursday because markets are closed, I would assume, beginning of the year, January 1st. And then Friday, January 2nd. Seems like things are back to normal there, but really there's no economic data there either. It seems like it's going to be really boring for the next upcoming days. Maybe less is more. Maybe we're not getting, what do you call it? If there's no economic data to worry about, we just focus on what we are projecting. The Fed rate cuts, we're expecting 2 rate cuts next year, and maybe we'll start rising on that news. Could be, but where's the money going to come from? People are probably going to tax loss harvest around this time. I've explained that concept before. I might as well explain it a little bit now, since we are short on topics. Tax loss harvesting it comes when, I don't really got to worry about this, by the way, because I'm already at a loss for this year, but that's fine. I know it's crazy. I lost money during a bull run. How crazy is that? Now, we blame October 10. Everybody lost there. Everything was perfectly fine. I was making billions. I was riding on yachts. I had a lot of girls around me all the time. And then now, after October 10, all of that changed. Like, I have nothing. I'm still locked in my bedroom trying to recover financially and emotionally. No, not emotionally. I'm fine. But yeah, no, I'm kidding, by the way. It was a big, crazy change. October 10 changed everything. So tax loss harvesting, what we do with that is if you're at a lot of gains this year and you are currently down in some positions, you could realize those losses, right? So you could like, yeah, I'm going to close all these positions and lose money on purpose with the expectation to rebuy close to or around the same prices and then continue going higher from there, because if there's a loss that you have, it basically offsets any gains that you've made and you won't have to pay tax on that. It's kind of a way to defer it, right? But it comes with its risk, of course. And yeah, it's kind of illegal, and I'm not a financial advisor. Apparently, you've got to wait like 30 days. Otherwise, they're just going to tax whatever. They're going to combine it together or something like that. So after selling, you do have to wait 30 days. This is like the law, the federal government's way of preventing you from cheating the system, right? You lose money in 2025 and you start rebuying in 2026, and then you make whatever gains in 2026 and so on. Imagine that. What if people were coming to the end of this year and they're like, I want to lose money on purpose. How do I do that? And then what if you just make a lot of money? That'd be pretty funny. You're trying to tax loss harvest, but then you just become a multimillionaire by accident. Interesting stuff. But with this kind of volatility, I don't know, man. Yeah, Bitcoin is kind of suffering. 87,000, I don't like to see that. And it's probably going to head lower because we are still in a downtrend. 91,000 has not been broken, so that once again further reinforces this move downwards. I do feel like we are going to look for a really good support first and wait as well for this super trend to kind of trace a little bit lower as well before we can have a good chance, a great attempt at breaking this downtrend line once and for all. With the volatility that we're expecting in the upcoming days, we're either just going to flatline or decay over here. I don't see a real reason why we should be rising. The fundamentals are great, yes, but everybody's looking at the technicals right now. The potential tax loss harvesting, low volatility, price decay, capitulation, whatever the case may be. I don't expect this to make any crazy moves toward the upside. Santa rally, don't think that's going to happen at this point. We're literally it's almost Christmas, okay? It's not going to happen. So we can ignore all that for now. In the meantime, it's a great opportunity for accumulating, in my opinion. That's what I'm going to try to do. Take advantage of these drops to kind of prepare myself for 2026 when things eventually do start rising, which they should. Then we should be good. I'm running out of breath. I drank too much water or something. And I'm going to drink more to kind of cover for that. Also, I'm kind of sitting in an awkward position. Oh, dude, I start work next week. How crazy is that? All right. So, okay. Next drop that I'm expecting on Bitcoin, 85,239. That's where I have mine. My entry, basically next to the support level. I guess I could combine it with Fibonacci, but it's like so tight to do this. I don't feel like it would work out properly. I still want to draw it just to see what it looks like. Awesome, that's exactly what I wanted. Let me get... Can you delete this? Thank you. I'm drawing like that web pattern of... What do you even call this abomination? X, A, B, C, D. Isn't that like Wyckoff? Oh my god, I'm doing it again. Get out of here. So, drops. Yeah, 86,000 obviously. 85 is where the pivot support level is. Then you're looking at maybe 83,500. Maybe 82. It's pretty obvious at that point. Like every $250, whatever. Wait, did I say 250? 1,500 is what I meant. Something like that. I don't know. It's a little too difficult at this point, but just pay attention to oversold levels. Great opportunity for entries. I'm just doing it this way because I'm a little desperate. I do kind of want my position back, even if it means at a loss. Hey, maybe that spells my downfall. I kind of did that same mistake with Solana. I'm not learning from my mistakes, and that's fine. My money, I'll do with it whatever I want. Not really, but yeah. Whatever. We'll see what happens, though. I don't expect it to crash either. There's no reason for it to crash. You just expect this to kind of sideways. Like, down to the right, as long as we're in a downtrend. That is it. I don't expect it to, like, do another October 10th on us. Especially, like, on Boxing Day. Come on. That's not going to happen. Okay, back to Ethereum here. So, I don't like we're sub 3,000, but that's whatever. Most important level to maintain is, of course, this uptrend line, which comes from God knows where, but it exists, and it actually followed it pretty well when we were fearful on the day Japan was about to hike their rates, the night before that. We were covering that live, we saw this drop happen, and we saw the recovery bottom out right there. So, to have another fear like that, what's the news? What's going to cause a drop like this again? I don't see one, not at least for the rest of this year, so... We should be fine with Ethereum. Keeping above 2,800, we'll call it. I didn't mean to move that. Okay, and then let's move on to Solana. Solana is currently on its way down at 122.56. This is like the last support level ever. Same deal. Fearful Japan rate hike. So scary. Whatever. $116.80. Let's hope we don't break below that, because that is also where I do get liquidated, and I've already accepted it. Fine, whatever liquidated, it's fine. I can recover. No real other change for Solana. I mean, to the upside, you're looking at 132 to confirm an uptrend. We're still a long way from that, and Supertrend is not on its way down yet. In order for that to start coming down, we either have to make another move lower to 116, which I don't expect to happen, or go sideways for a while longer, which I do expect to happen for the next upcoming days. Zcash down 4%. Yeah, same deal. I was shorting over here. Could have made more. It's fine. We'll let it do its thing. Still in a downtrend, which invalidates at 460 plus. Looking to hit that 400 psychological support. Breaking that would take us immediately to 388. Very volatile coin. No chance for entries, neither to the upside nor to the downside yet, so I'm staying out of it for now. Trying to think as well. If we do get another rise for whatever reason, something to near 460, like 450 plus we're talking, that's a good opportunity for a potential short once again, because we've seen this resistance a couple times now. Not sure if it's going to be the last time we'll attempt to break it, but we'll see. Only time will tell, of course, and it would also mean, you know, maybe the super trend also dropping a little bit along with, as time goes on, the downtrend line lowers. So we'll see how it behaves. SUI is at 142 right now. How is this drawn? What is going on here? This comes from here. Yeah, I don't like it. I think we could ignore this downtrend. It's pretty obvious we are in a downtrend line. I'm not going to bother adjusting this. 155 is where it invalidates. Current price 142, like I said, should drop to 130. That is an important support level we have for SUI. Not much has really changed. Not a lot of movement for a volatile coin. It still says it's down 2% either way, which, yeah, there is technically volatility in that, if you care. But it's nothing too crazy in my opinion. Hyperliquid, $24.03. Lowest point was 22.19, which would have been from Japan, I assume. What was Japan fear? Yeah, December 18. It was that day. Well, it's still in its downtrend, which invalidates at 27.26. So it's going to take a while still here as well. I'm not going to really do much in terms of entries for a lot of these. They're not giving me good signals. They're kind of just flat lining, and it's in the center. So it could either go up or down to make a newer low, or up to a resistance level that should probably not break because there's no reason for it to break. And that goes for Bitcoin and the rest of the altcoins. Just a TLDR on the rest of everything if you care. Chainlink's current price 12.31. Yeah, not a lot of movement here. None to be expected. BitTensor making new lows right now. So I'm noticing Solana and BitTensor so far. One of the few that are dropping the most. So this one's at 210. Hey, you remember that halving thing? Remember the ETP thing? Remember Grayscale? None of it matters. Unless maybe Grayscale is selling it off. I doubt it. I don't think that's the reason why. There's got to be another, maybe something else why it's dropping BitTensor. I do want to investigate, see what AI says. Tau, where are you? Here you are. And why are we down? Post-halving demand vacuum. So there's that. Like it's a sell the news event, basically. Sector-wide AI token sell-off. Yeah, not a lot. It's not that hot right now. And also, I guess the other thing that would be driving this is fears of an AI bubble, which, yes, they are still there. And you won't believe who is the main voice talking about this AI bubble. It's Warren Buffett, believe it or not. The guy is actually going on his podcast and talking about, oh yeah, there's an AI bubble that can pop and it's going to be worse than the dot-com bubble. Like, shut up, old man. Get out of here. Go retire. I'm sorry. Warren Buffett's the best investor ever, okay? But he's made some wrong calls in the past. He's not a superhuman. He is just simply human. He's just an old man that has been investing for a very long time, and that's why he is where he is. So I'm trying to start as early as I can, and I'm trying to live as long as I can to have an attempt at that. To be honest, with investing, you only got to be right once, and you got to be like super right. Okay, I'm rephrasing that. You got to be super right only once to really make it. If you get an investment and it puts you up to the millions, you're set. You're set for life. I think. I don't know. Can you survive with $1 million? I'm talking for the rest of your life. Thing I would do with $1 million is like drop it in. What would I do? Real estate investment trusts, maybe. I have a favorite of mine that I've been looking into. Something that pays you a guaranteed dividend, right? Mort. This is a good real estate investment trust income ETF from VanEck. Pretty stable in price, ranging around $10. Yeah, sometimes it'll drop below, sometimes it'll go above. That's the power of this. And this is in a weekly chart, by the way. Ignore, of course, COVID. That didn't happen. COVID wasn't real. And why is this here? What is going on? Whatever, I'm deleting that. Why I like this is because of the dividends that it pays out. For every share that you own, which is only, we'll just say it's $10 per share on average throughout its lifespan, you get paid 36 cents, 26 cents per share, 37 cents per share. Now, if you're dropping $1 million on this thing, So that's $1 million. Each share cost $10 on average. That's like 100,000 shares. With each share, you're getting paid 0.363, and this is every July, August, September, October, every 3 months that you're getting paid this. Great, that's exactly what I meant to do. I said 100,000, right? Times 0.363 is $36,000 you're getting paid every 3 months. How many 3 months are there in a year? There's 4 of them. So every year you're basically getting $145,000. That's the salary of a doctor, your average doctor. So, and you're not doing anything other than investing. You're getting paid this passive income. And you can cash out anytime you get your million back, as long as this, of course, does not crash in price, which lowest it's ever been, $7. No. Well, ignoring COVID, $3 was that low in COVID. And this is like, we're talking 2011, these prices of $6, $7. I'm face palming, I just said the number. Whatever. So yeah, averaging out those prices, it's also hit its highs at almost $14 per share. Maybe you'll cash out even higher. Who knows? So I find that something like this is what I'd be interested in. First is growing your wealth, and then it's preserving your wealth. You got to figure out how to do both of those. None of this is financial advice, by the way, and I'm only 24 and I don't know what I'm talking about, so you do your own research. Moving on. Aptos is down 1.80%, $1.59. Hey, at least we're not making new lows, unlike BitTensor. Yeah, this is shameful. What are we doing with BitTensor? It's down 6% today, and we're oversold. If you really care about spot DCA on BitTensor, now would be a great chance. Not financial advice. If I had the extra money, I probably would, but I don't want to do spot, and I don't want to leverage trade, especially in this type of downtrend. We're not expecting an alt season much anymore, is what a lot of analysts have been saying. So that is practically off the table. I don't know. Something is off about the cycle. It's a lot different. We're seeing it all the time. So just focus on fundamentals, focus on which coins are good. Some coins can come back and make an all-time high, but we need to like really good demand behind it. For now, especially in altcoins, retail investors are not there. So that's why a lot of these are kind of dead right now. But eventually they'll come back and they'll FOMO very hard. And it rewards those who are in early. Does that mean you should get in early? No. You should FOMO too. No, not really. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money. I'm done. I don't even know if we will even get an alt season anymore. By the looks of it, the answer is probably not. So I'm sticking with Bitcoin mainly for now. And that is why I've basically kind of accepted my fate with a lot of these other ones. I'm like, yeah, you know what? If they get liquidated, they get liquidated. I already got liquidated on like 20 others. So, dude, it's fine. Yeah, not much else to say for Aptos other than the local bottom at 142. We'll hope we don't hit. And we have been ranging between 170 and 155, we'll say. Yeah. So no big changes there. It's pretty close, though, to flipping its trend. Like, this is... It seems like it's distant, but it's not really that distant. This is only a 6% rise on Aptos, which can absolutely happen in one day. And it should flip our trend back into the green and give us maybe some false hopium like we've seen in the past. I don't think we're going to be dropping much lower. Aptos has been really heavily hit. But we're not going to rise that high either, because this is a very inflationary coin. So you do have to keep that in mind. Speaking of inflationary coins, oh my gosh, did they change this? I like it. Very much darker. I want to see how Sonic is doing. I haven't checked in on that thing in a while. Has it died yet? Where are you? Did they delist it? Is it that bad? They might have delisted it, dude. Where are you? Here you are. It's pretty bad. 6 cents. Oh no. That is not good. Remember this thing being at 30 cents? Remember this thing being at 50? At $1? Yeah, this is like 95% down from its... No, this used to be $3 back in 2021, back when it was Phantom, FTM. Dude, this is crazy. This is crazy numbers. What was our October 10 low? Not even October 10 was this bad. Well, it was 7 cents. Still. This is really bad. We're looking to hit 0.6 cents with 89 millicents. It seems like around 6 cents we should stop. Dude, seeing this at 6 cents is just crazy. I saw it at like 14. I think I took profit even at this rise over here. It wasn't too long ago. Was it November? Could have been. I do recall something like that. I was trying to enter and then I took a quick profit from here. Good thing I did, man. Holy. Whatever, man. I also lost a lot on this drop over here. Not even on this one. It might have been on this one. This first initial drop. I think it might have been, yeah. Because I was on 3x leverage. Averaging around 30 cents. That is crazy, though. Wow. Things die. Will they ever recover? I don't know. Seems like no one cares about the 400,000 transactions per second that potential that it could bring. Yeah, all those US Treasury governance votes, none of it mattered. Okay, well, there you go. In zero volatility today, I've managed to waste 25 minutes talking about the markets. There you go. Just bring that much content for you guys. Here's the big piece of news. Let's go ahead and get into it. Department of Justice dropped a huge nuke of information on all of us regarding Jeffrey Epstein. 30,000 more pages of documents related to the guy. Some of these documents contain... Oh, here's the disclosure. Some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. To be clear, the claims about Trump are unfounded and false. And if they had a shred of credibility, they would certainly have been weaponized against President Trump already. Nevertheless, out of our commitment to the law and transparency, the DOJ is releasing these documents with the legally required protection for Epstein's victims. Wow. So they gave us the big batch right over here. And they said, yes, guys, Trump's name might be in this, and you might see him being alleged of criminal activity, SA, sexual abuse, rape, etc., and murder that is ruled as suicide, but not really. Maybe. We'll talk about that more in detail, of course. But it's all false, guys. It's all fake. It's not true. And Trump is a good guy. Otherwise, this would have been used against him already in the past. Well, okay. We'll see. The commitment to transparency, unfounded. Boom. Hit immediately with the community note. You guys were supposed to release this December 19, back in Friday. But here we are, December 23rd, and we're still getting another part of it. I don't even know if this is the rest of it. I'm sure there's probably more. Or maybe not. I don't know. And man, did they do a bad job at all of this. We've got a lot to talk about with this. Okay, moving on. So, well, thank you, Department of Justice. They dropped 30,000 more Epstein pages and preemptively lawyered up for Trump. They issued the warning that there's untrue and sensationalist claims involving Trump. So, yes, he is in those files. There are unsolicited tips, emails, and citizen submissions, the same category as crank letters, politically motivated accusations, and third-hand stories that flood federal inboxes during election cycles. Some allege inappropriate behavior, others imply proximity or knowledge. None are backed by evidence sufficient to trigger charges, subpoenas, or investigate escalation. That matters. The files show receipt, not validation. The FBI logged them, the DOJ archived them. There was no corroboration followed, that is why they sat dormant until transparency laws forced daylight. Why is this coming out now? Why have we been delayed this the whole time? Why were we told that, yeah, the Epstein files are on my desk? Psych, there's no Epstein files. Why did Kash Patel say, yeah, there's nobody else involved? We do clearly have a lot of people involved. So, yeah, okay. Little by little, we'll get into all of it. There's so much to talk about. Zoom out. This release isn't about Trump alone. It's about how the Epstein case metastasized into a gravity well for rumor, fear, and opportunism. Real crimes, real victims, thousands of pages of noise orbiting the truth. Predictions, social media will cherry pick the ugliest lines and call it proof, and the courts won't, which is true. This is what happened. Historians will note the tell, what's alleged, but how aggressively the DOJ is signaling what isn't there. This is pure damage control in the document dump era, where everything leaks, but not everything means something. So, yeah, there's that part of it. Okay, first of all, I will talk about this. Donald Trump did fly on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet at least 8 times, is what the documents reveal, and Ghislaine Maxwell was also on board for at least 4 of those trips. Remember, Trump himself claimed he did not go to the island, though. He's just been on the flight logs. And what I mean when I say that these guys did a poor job at releasing these files, it's basically this. This went super viral, the fact that you can go look at the Epstein files right now, any document, anything that is redacted or censored, you can basically just figure out what it means by highlighting it, because they've just been painted black. They didn't really delete stuff. They just painted over the text, and you can just copy the text itself and paste it on a raw document anywhere else, like on Word or Google Translate or whatever, and you can see what it says. So you failed to redact these documents properly. Now there's sensitive information all over the internet. Nothing is redacted here. But you do have to go through a process, of course, to kind of get all this information. The blackout text in Epstein's documents turned out to be easily readable. In some of the files of the scandalous financier's case, you can read everything that the U.S. Department of Justice tried to obscure. The journalists noticed that. If you simply select the censored blocks, the text is copied from them. The fact is that during editing, they presumably blacked out the background of the text, but not the letters themselves. That was so dumb. Rookie mistake. In many hidden parts of the files, attempts were made to remove information about money movements and specific amounts, as well as details related to the financier's lawyer, Darren Indike, whatever. And yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff. The Epstein files allows you to highlight the redacted text. You could copy it, paste it in another document, which reveals what was hidden. If you control F on all that stuff that is hidden, and you search for Trump, his name does appear like more than 600 times, which is pretty bad. That's pretty crazy. So, what to do with all this? Yeah, it went super viral. Even on TikTok, people were talking about it. On 4chan, people were posting the declassified documents, I guess. So it got pretty crazy. There were also bribery and payoffs talked about in the unredacted files. They also apparently used Adobe to redact some files, which could basically be undone by copying and pasting and searching. Crazy. What else was released here? Prince Andrew and Guillen asked Guillen for inappropriate friends, so there you go. Prince Andrew confirmed pedophile. New Trump accused in 1995 of a rape claim, and the victim was later found dead. This is the big parts that the social media took and is now claiming that, oh, Trump is a rapist confirmed. Here you go. I'm going to read through all of this, and it's going to contain very harsh material. Viewer discretion advised. So, I mean, should I even read all this? I'll just read the summary of it. You guys can read all of it. It's right over here. They're all public, by the way, the whole Epstein stuff. And I'm sure you can get the redacted stuff out of the way, too. A Dallas limo driver said he nearly pulled over to confront Trump after hearing disturbing comments about abusing some girl during a 1995 ride. A girl later told the driver that Donald Trump had raped her along with Jeffrey Epstein. She was later found dead, and her head was blown off in Kiefer, Oklahoma. Officers said that there was no way this is a suicide, even though it was ruled as one. And that's the one that people are taking and running off with. Like, there you go, Trump confirmed rapist, and how old was the girl? I don't remember. It just says a victim. So, I mean, either way, rape is bad from whatever age you are. Yeah. Does not look good, so pretty damning. What else did we get? Epstein featured returning to cell where he got strangled. Oh yeah, a lot of stuff about Epstein's suicide and like the stuff that was documented during his attempts. That was also released in this. I don't know if I could show this, whatever. Jeffrey Epstein's This is a dead body. I don't know. It's not a dead body. He's just sleeping. He's sleeping peacefully. Hopefully not peacefully. I don't know. He's a pretty bad guy. What does it say? He said, I don't know what happened. On July 23rd, 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was found unconscious in his cell with neck injuries, snoring loudly and unresponsive. Medical staff documented a circular line of erythema at the base of the neck, along with other marks of friction and bruising on his knee. Epstein told the prison staff that he didn't remember what happened, but was afraid to return to the special housing unit, saying it was where he had gotten marks on his neck and he does not know why it happened. Did he get drugged and beaten or attempted to be killed, maybe? Maybe somebody did kill him? We were already ruled that it was a suicide. He said that he only slept 30 minutes a night for 5 days due to noise and stress. His cellmate was an ex-cop, Nicholas Tartaglione, had reportedly been harassing him, and Epstein claimed that he tried to kill me. Staff noted Tartaglione had been aggressive and was seen mocking Epstein with a string around his neck. Despite these signs, the incident was labeled a possible suicide attempt. So there was that noted, and I do want to talk about this. Was also released. The feds uploaded a 12-second video showing what appears to be Epstein attempting suicide in jail, except that it's fake and it was already uploaded 5 years ago on YouTube. I don't know why they uploaded this. Apparently this is what the community notes say. This was a recreation uploaded by the Department of Justice in its Epstein files. Almost said Justin, I don't know why. It was submitted as a tip. It's not official footage of Epstein's suicide. Accompanying documents identified it as false and it was removed after the upload, which is true because we did get confirmation that the cameras weren't working, right? The only actual working footage allegedly was the one that was outside his cell at a terrible angle that had 1 minute missing at a suspicious hour of the night and was edited with Adobe Premiere Pro. So we were like, what's real, what's not? It seems like these guys are doing a really bad job, in my opinion. We also had this. He is sleeping. This is not blood. YouTube, Epstein with swollen red hands and legs after a suicide attempt in 2019. Those photos were also released over here. What else did we get? Police were tipped off in 2004 after a cab driver dropped off a 15 and 17-year-old to Epstein's Palm Beach home on August 10, 2004. Yeah, so it basically confirmed that, yeah, you understand, minor abuse and all that. Epstein used fake Austrian passport with alias Marius Fortelny. Okay, cool. What a picture. Yeah, stuff like that was also uncovered. Victims says Epstein threatened her with powerful people, including Bill Clinton. Yeah, Clinton is he's done. He's also on that. Okay, back to this. Emails also link $450 million Da Vinci sale to MBS, Epstein, and Russian oligarch. No one cares. Mark Epstein, his brother, told the FBI that he thinks Epstein was murdered, and he claims that Trump authorized it. Apparently that was also put out in the part of the files. Which, like I said, all this stuff we're implicating Trump. The Department of Justice already kind of said whatever you see anything about Trump, it's people claiming stuff without actual evidence, and that's why it's dismissed, and that's why we're not prosecuting Trump. Otherwise, obviously, legal action would have been taken against him already. That's their defense of it, all of it. Crazy stuff. Another survivor says she was kept in stalls and raped as a child by Epstein. He said I was an animal. Oh, that's terrible. More stuff like this is coming out. This is also not good. Trump princess yacht hat was found among Epstein's belongings. So, what is Trump princess? I don't know. Am I gonna get banned? What is this? It's just a yacht. The yacht name is Trump princess. All right. Well, yeah, there's a little hat with a logo on it, and it was found in Epstein's belongings. Must have obviously been given to him by Trump. What else do we got? Our president loved to grab snatch letters to Nassar postmarked after Epstein's death. This is also pretty damning. There was a letter sent from Jeffrey Epstein to this other guy who was also a convicted sex offender, Larry Nassar. It talks about Trump. Seeing Dear Lester Nassar, no, Larry Nassar. As you know by now, I have taken the short route home. Good luck, la la la. And he says this: we shared one thing, our love and caring for young ladies at the hope they'd reach their full potential. And then it says, our president, which was Trump at the time, shares our love of young nubile girls. When a young beauty walked by, he loved to grab snatch, whereas we ended up snatching grub in the mess halls of the system. What does that even mean? But anyways, this young part, no good. The letter was marked return to sender and it never reached Nassar because obviously it was submitted to the FBI. I think it was like, since he was in prison, it had to go through this process of getting mailed out, and the jail court system, I don't know, they intercepted that and like, oh, we can't have this go in the public, and so they discarded it or handed it over to the FBI or something. So that was also part of the files. That's pretty bad. The DOJ confirms Epstein to Nassar letter is fake. Okay, thank God. The FBI concluded that a letter allegedly sent from Jeffrey Epstein to Larry Nassar is fake, according to the DOJ. The handwriting doesn't match Epstein's. The letter was postmarked 3 days after Epstein's death and from Virginia while he was jailed in New York. The return address also lacked required details, including his inmate number. So it's fake. Okay, great, because that would have been pretty terrible. The Department of Justice emphasized that the release of documents does not mean their contents are factual. So this is the post that they came out with later, basically explaining what I just talked about. Okay. Never seen before photos of Epstein in suicide smock after first suicide attempt released. Yeah, we did see all these photos already. Epstein's files contain fake documents, clearly fake handwriting. Yeah, we talked about that. Todd Blanche came to confirm that, and that is pretty much it. There's still more, though. Kash Patel, you're not getting out of this. Earlier this year, Kash Patel, this is the director of the FBI currently, he testified under oath that internal files contained no credible information that Epstein trafficked young women to anyone other than to himself. But today, we got a huge batch of files, and what does it say? There is internal emails referring to 10 co-conspirators. They had these files for a long time already, and we have Kash Patel under oath saying that it was only Epstein and Guillen Maxwell, that's why they were both imprisoned, and there's nobody else involved as the co-conspirators. Well, now we're getting emails talking about, yeah, there's 10 co-conspirators, which means that Kash Patel is lying under oath, which is probably a crime. He should be impeached, is what a lot of people are saying, for blatantly lying to Congress about the Epstein files. Here he claims there is no evidence of anyone being trafficked to other individuals, as what he said. He must resign. He clearly lied under oath. Lock him up. That's what Brian Krasenstein and Ed Krasenstein have been saying. And he made an interesting comment about Dan Bongino, which we did cover, the fact that this is the deputy FBI director who stepped down not too long ago, maybe a week or two ago. Maybe he knew what was coming, and that would make the entire administration look like a bunch of co-conspirators to Jeffrey Epstein, and that the MAGA base would likely soon turn against them all. Who are the co-conspirators? I don't think we really know yet, because some of those files are redacted. I'm sure not all the files were redacted in the wrong way, like we saw where you just copy paste the text and you can see what it says. I still think like some of it is still redacted, even though they did talk about before is that the only thing that they should be redacting is sensitive information for the victims. And that's it, not the accused people or politically exposed people. That stuff should not be redacted, but it is. So we don't know who they are yet. At least I don't think we do. I don't see anybody else really talking about it. So that's not good. More talks about Jeffrey Epstein on the cell thing. He was too afraid to return to the cell. He found he was waking up with strange strangulation marks around his neck that he couldn't explain. What do you guys think? Was he killed or was he suiciding? Well, we don't know. We'll never know. Okay. And that is all. That is enough Jeffrey Epstein, but man, that is crazy stuff. Rest of it, we'll be talking about some crypto news and some other world stuff. Let's see. We got the GDP data today. Great. It came in very well. It didn't move markets at all because markets wanted the PCE data. We wanted inflation data, which we did not get, by the way. And that is probably why markets didn't really react too much to the GDP coming in pretty good. We came in at a growth of 4.3% when we were expecting 3.3%. So this is a whole percentage point above expectation. Massive growth in the US economy, which it is a good sign for the US economy, not really for our bags because we've got the opposite mindset. We want US economy to be doing bad so that the Fed will cut rates, so that inflation will kick in, so that our assets will rise, which that is, it's still going to happen next year, but I don't know. The continued growth means ISM will grow and enter the expansion phase, which also, it's another thing that has been historically bullish for crypto. The last two major alt seasons of 2017 and 2021 started when the ISM was above 55. I never really pay attention to ISM, but I feel like I should. I should start paying attention to it more because I have looked at charts with it before. It seems like it does kind of have some form of correlation, so I'll have to investigate that a little more. If you look at the chart, the last three GDP readings resulted in a 4 to 5% short-term correction in Bitcoin, but it always ended up pumping back higher. In the midterm and long term, the growing US economy means less risk of recession, which is bullish for all markets. Yeah, I guess, because when it does come to recession, which was one of the things that I was expecting for 2026 to be the bear market as the excuse, seems like that's not going to be an issue, especially when we're one whole percentage point above expectations in our GDP growth for the third quarter of the year. Of course, we don't know what the fourth quarter is yet, and I'm pretty sure this is like really delayed. Why are we getting this now? October, the government shut down, obviously, but I'm sure this was supposed to come out in October, right? January, February, March, April, May, June. No, there's 4 quarters in the year of 3 months each. Yeah, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Yeah, it would have been for July, August, September, these numbers that we're seeing. We're getting October, November, December by next month, of course. We're still in December, so we don't know the numbers yet. And October, shut down. That's why we didn't get these numbers. That makes more sense. Okay. I'm tired, dude. Of course, Trump comes out to brag about it all, saying the tariffs are responsible for the great U.S. economic numbers that were just announced, and they will only get better. Also, no inflation and great national security. Pray for the U.S. Supreme Court. We know the tariff ruling stuff. What do we even want from that anymore? Do we want no more tariff headlines? Or do we want maybe the U.S. economy doing good, and do we trust in Trump's plan? What do we do? The thing about inflation, though, there's people manually measuring inflation on their own since we didn't really get PCE data. It seems like it's about 2.28%. To get this number, we aggregate millions of real price data points from multiple different data providers, allowing us to glimpse the daily year-over-year CPI inflation associated with actual purchases. So we're estimating it's about 2.28%, which is pretty close in the Fed's target range, the 2%. So maybe more room for rate cuts because economy is not suffering, inflation is not rising, the jobs market is kind of up in the air still. That'll probably be the catalyst for next year to give us some rate cuts. Trump further commented on the GDP third quarter came in at 4.3%, blowing past expectations of 3.2. We just saw it was 3.3, but whatever. 60 of 61 Bloomberg economists got it wrong, but Trump and some other geniuses got it right. The success is due to good government and tariffs. Consumer spending is strong, net exports are way up, Imports and trade deficits are way down. There is no inflation. Because of my tax bill, the great big beautiful bill, and tariffs, investment is setting records. This is why I kind of agree with it, if all this stuff is true. Because we're kind of seeing it in action, right? There's no denying that. But I don't know. I don't live in the US. I don't experience the inflation in the US. You guys tell me. Trump golden age is full steam ahead. You haven't seen anything yet. Thank you for your attention. Okay. And then he further talks about it more, just for whatever reason. Financial news today was great. GDP is up 4.2% as opposed to the predicted 2.5%. Where are you getting these numbers from? Now you're just making stuff up. Unless you're actually seeing this from some other place. Despite the downward pressure of the recent Democrat shutdown. No, not really. The shutdown happened in October. We are supposed to get these numbers in October. They only measure July, August, September. Right? The third quarter of the GDP? Unless we're talking about something else, literally. There's this other thing I just clicked on. Hold on. There was other GDP price index. Is it this? No. GDP sales. It's got to be something else. GDP month over month. This is the change. Maybe it's one of these numbers. I don't know. Because there's different GDP measurings. So it would be one of those probably. But in the modern market, when you have good news, the market stays even or goes down because Wall Street's heads are wired differently than they used to be. Which is true. You know, I remember when Trump did point this out one time where he was like, oh, we're getting great economic data, but then prices crash? Like, why does that make sense? And it's because if the economy is doing good, there's no need for rate cuts, and we want rate cuts, so market crashes. That's what was happening in this past year most of the time. But anyway, in old days, when there was good news, the market went up. Nowadays, when there's good news, the market goes down because everybody thinks that interest rates will be immediately lifted to take care of potential inflation. That means that essentially we can never have a great market again. Those markets from the time when our nation was building up and becoming great. Strong markets, even phenomenal markets, don't cause inflation. Stupidity does. I want my new Fed chairman to lower interest rates if the market is doing well, not destroy the market for no reason whatsoever. I want to have a market the likes of which we haven't had in many decades. A market that goes up on good news and goes down on bad news the way it should be, and the way it was. Inflation will take care of itself. Okay. And if it doesn't, we can always raise rates at the appropriate time. But the appropriate time is not to kill rallies, which could lift our nation by 10, 15, and even 20 GDP points in a year, and maybe even more than that. A nation can never be economically great if eggheads are allowed to do everything within their power to destroy the upward slope. We're going to be encouraging the good market to get better, rather than make it impossible for it to do so. We're going to see numbers that are far more natural and far better than they have ever. I'm losing my voice. I'm tired. There's a big paragraph, and I'm out of breath for some reason. We're going to see numbers that are far more natural and far better than they have ever been before. We're going to make America great again. The United States should be rewarded for success, not be brought down by it. Anybody that disagrees with me will never be the Fed chairman. There you go. Yeah, dude, Hassett is absolutely going to lower rates. 2026 is going to be great. Look at that. Trending number 1 is Fed chair. Why? Yep, that's basically what we just read. The odds of the Fed pausing rate cuts in January 2026 surged to a new high of 86% on Polymarket. Yeah, Powell will likely not cut rates in January. That's kind of what we expected, even though core inflation hit its lowest level since March 2021. Okay. There's more about this here. US GDP growth is at its strongest pace since 2023. The CPI inflation fell unexpectedly to 2.7% last month, which we saw. Trump is appointing a new Fed chair who will cut rates. Oil prices are down to their lowest level since 2021. Equity ETFs have attracted a record $1.4 trillion in 2025. The Mag 7 AI investment is now above $600 billion a year. Yeah, how can you fight this momentum? Well, yeah. I think 2026 will be great. You're not mad at Bitcoin, you're mad it didn't do the thing you expected, says an analyst, Anthony Pompliano. He said what a lot of people need to hear. Bitcoin didn't deliver the Q3, Q4 blow off top, but it also hasn't delivered the classic 75 to 80% drawdown either. Why? Volatility compression. Which is true, right? If we are at the end of the cycle, why are we not dropping 75 to 80%? We've only dropped, what, 30, maybe 40%? Although I doubt it. It's probably 30% from our all-time high. Should have been, because I got liquidated. Yeah, 30%. Wow, right on the dot. How perfect. Am I just not great at what I do? Anyways, yeah. We didn't see a 70% drop, and even if we did, I don't think that's really supposed to happen, because that would take us to... We're talking like $37,000, $40,000 for Bitcoin at a 68% drop. That's never going to happen. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news for the bears, but it's not going to happen. I've predicted a 66,000 Bitcoin price drop, which would be... I do want to know what the percentage is from our all-time high for a drop like that. 66,000. About a 47% drop. You could even go like, say something like 45% drop. That's something that I could get behind in a bear market, if we are even in one. Bitcoin can still grind higher without the fireworks. And if drawdowns shrinks from 80% to 40%, long-term holders win. So stay patient, zoom out. Okay. Apparently France is eyeing a national Bitcoin reserve. They proposed a new bill which would accumulate 420,000 Bitcoin. I don't know why 420. That's nearly 2% of the supply. It would take over 7 to 8 years using nuclear and hydropower for mining and allowing Bitcoin payments for taxes. They're copying us, which it's about time. And it's going to be a matter of time before a lot of nations kind of start doing the same thing. France could become the first major European country with a national Bitcoin reserve. Big if true. We'll see. I don't know. I don't like the Macron guy. I don't think he's going to do it. His wife is weird. So, yeah, what do we do? 420,000 Bitcoins, though. That's going to be more than what the United States currently has. Over 7 to 8 years, though. Why not just dump all your money into buying this right now? Like, right now. Because it's just going to get more expensive over 7 to 8 years. And how are you going to fund that? With the nuclear hydropower, they're going to mine it. You're going to mine all of that. There's not that many Bitcoins left to mine. There is only 1 million left, if that. Pretty sure there is. Yeah, there's 1 million Bitcoins left to mine. And it gets difficult. More harder every 4 years. You're taking 7 to 8 years, so that's another 2 halvings, potentially. I can't do math, so you do the math for me. Yeah, I don't know about that, but it's better if you do it faster than this, by the way, in my opinion. Germany is going to have to catch up on this as well. If, Europe starts FOMOing into Bitcoin, keep in mind Germany sold 50,000 Bitcoin last year, and it caused a huge stink. But when we see France potentially buying 420,000 Bitcoin, which is more than China, more than the United States, which has 300,000, China has 200,000, nobody cares, and Bitcoin doesn't move an inch. So that's crypto in 2025 for you. Wow, did I say 2024? I thought we were last year. Apparently this happened. California just passed a shocking law where any crypto left untouched for 3 years can be legally seized by the state. Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any forgotten altcoin with no activity, logins, or transfers is now considered abandoned property and it can be sold. There's a asterisk to this, though. The government has a license to steal. That's pretty funny. Yeah, what if you're just holding Bitcoin or Ethereum for, 3 years? You can't legally seize my stuff if I'm deciding to hold it for longer than 3 years. What are we doing here? Communism? This law applies only to exchanges or other third-party custodians, subject to California laws. Not your keys, not your coins. Any abandoned coins will be held in coins, not converted to US dollars. Okay, good. So there's no forced selling there. They're just going to seize your crypto. Not yours, by the way. It's only for exchanges, like I said. Holders are able to get their coins back, like normal abandoned property. Okay, wait, never mind. Yeah, it will be your coins then. If you hold them on exchanges... dude. That's pretty crazy. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Not good, of course. Why are they getting their paws on our coins? Leave them alone. Robert Kiyosaki posted this about Warren Buffett, which I talked about earlier in the stream about the whole AI bubble thing. Robert says, Warren Buffett's podcasts are fantastic. Nice grammar. I listen to his wisdom daily. Warning. You see the I there? Warning. AI bubble. This is not real. What is this guy doing? Artificial intelligence, stock market bubble, and global debt pose the biggest threat to our lives and investments he has ever witnessed, bigger than the dot-com burst. I will pay closer attention to his podcasts. I encourage you to do the same. Like it or not, we live in dangerous times, and it is best we listen to a great man of wisdom for guidance in the future. Take care. Happy holy days. Thank you. I really doubt this too, honestly. Okay, there you go. Fact checked with Grok. No, there isn't an official podcast hosted by Warren Buffett. He doesn't produce or appear regularly on any. Buffett assured his views on AI in interviews and Berkshire meetings, comparing the risks to nuclear tech, but claims of him warning about an AI bubble in a podcast likely stem from deepfakes or third-party discussions. Always verify sources. Okay, so it's not real. None of it was real this whole time. That is crazy. And Kiyosaki's falling for a deepfake then, maybe? Buffett's real views on AI come from interviews and meetings, not podcasts. He's cautious about its risks, but deepfakes are muddying the waters. Stay vigilant. Because I feel like if this actually happened, if Warren Buffett said AI is in a bubble and that is why I'm holding $300 billion in cash and buying, PetSmart and dog food companies and Domino's Pizza. And you're like, okay, well, maybe he knows something. But no, apparently it's fake. Can I dislike a post? I'm not going to block Robert because I love him, but whatever. Canada news. Wait. Yes. Canada allows signature collection for an Alberta independence referendum. Hey, maybe Alberta will become independent. I know we've talked about this a little bit, but by early January, we're expecting the Alberta Prosperity Project to appoint a financial officer before officially launching a campaign. We're going to need a lot of signatures, I think. Yeah, collecting signatures, that way we get independence in Alberta. Organizers have 4 months to gather at least 178,000 signatures from Alberta residents. I don't live there, but hey, best of luck. Last I heard, they're really conservative, and they hate the rest of Canada. Alberta is Canada's main oil-producing province, holding an estimated 95 to 97% of the country's proven oil reserves. Okay, that's pretty good. So if Alberta leaves Canada, I think Canada is kind of doomed. Because what else are you going to export if your main industry is now independent and you can't do anything about it? Crazy. Earlier this year, a similar attempt was blocked after a court ruled the wording unconstitutional. The provincial government later amended the rules for citizen-initiated referendums, allowing activists to rephrase the question and reapply. Yeah, we know where Alberta is located. But if Alberta was to independendize, do you know how weird the shape of the countries would now look? It's going to look like a missing tooth, right? Alberta is just gone. It's just its own country. You're going to have Mexico, United States, the country of Alberta, and then Canada with this weird, like, what do you even call this pattern? And then it's still going to be the second largest country in the world, I think. with a missing tooth. I like that analogy, a missing tooth. Pretty funny. And this one made me go, what? Oh, hell no. When Nicaragua has banned the Bible from being brought into their country after the book was added to the prohibited entry list, alongside weapons and drugs, meaning even tourists aren't allowed to bring Bibles with them if they visit. What, dude? No Bibles in Nicaragua? They're treating it the same as a weapon. Well, it is a spiritual weapon, but what are we doing here, man? This comes amid widespread repression, including church closures, detention of clergy, bans on pub-back religious processions. What does that even mean? And the shutdown more than 1,300 religious organizations since 2018. I'm sure this guy will leave, and Trump is really hoping that some other guy... He pardoned some other Nicaraguan ex-presidents, from what I recall. There's something going on there in Nicaragua. So we'll see what happens. But hey, this is not cool, and I'm sure God may or may not have a punishment for you. No, I'm just kidding. Whatever. Free will, we all have free will. I mean, North Korea is doing fine without Bibles. I think they don't have Bibles. Is the Bible banned in North Korea? Yes. Alright, that's all I needed to hear. And they're doing fine. Whatever, man. But that's weird, though. To think that Nicaragua would do that. They're a Catholic nation. They should be, right? I don't know, though. I've never been there, never visited. I've heard a lot about it, but I only ever met one person from Nicaragua. Emily, if you're watching this, hi. That's it. Okay. We're crashing. 86,947. Expected. I don't have any other short positions opened. Should have opened more. If only I knew, right? No, but I've taken my profits. Let's not be greedy here. We'll wait for the appropriate time to enter. Now is not the time. Like I said, what do I expect? Sideways movement, decay over time, low volatility. Friday, I think, is just... You're expecting too much from Friday. I don't know. We'll cover it all. So we'll see what happens Friday. What will I be doing? Tomorrow, Wednesday, is Christmas Eve. Will I stream or will I not stream? I don't know. I have church, and then I have family dinner. It's probably going to be too late by then, so no, I will probably not stream. But if I can, I will. So I'm not going to rule it out entirely. And then Thursday, Christmas Day itself, yes, confirmed I will not be streaming because I'm going somewhere else. I'm going to visit my cousins for Christmas dinner. I know, big family. And then Friday, yes, I probably will be here for stream too. If we ever did get any volatility from contract expiries, we'll be covering that. And yeah. It should also be a Boxing Day. I don't know if I will buy something. Maybe not. I don't know. I didn't buy anything for Black Friday. Didn't buy anything for my birthday. I'm really just saving up for bills. That's the adult life. That's what you get for being 24 years old in the year 2025. Am I right? Gosh, who put me on this earth? But yeah. So Saturday, same deal. I will be streaming. I just have one meeting, like at 7, probably. But I'll still be able to attend, I think. And then Sunday, a little preparation day for me personally, because I will have to get ready to start working on Monday. Is it Monday? Yeah, it is. 29th. Oh my gosh, dude, what am I gonna do? And I don't even know what to expect yet. Like, am I supposed to be working from home, or do I have to go to the... I know I have to go to the office for training and picking up my equipment. It's a remote position that I've got. And yeah, I don't know if I'm going to have to go there for like a full week for training, or how many days, or if it's just a one-time thing. Yeah. So Bitcoin is dropping. Apparently gold is skyrocketing. I'll be the judge of that. I mean, yeah, we did see continuation of the movement upside. Oh, it's kind of down a little bit. We did hit it this afternoon, actually. 4,525 is a new all-time high for gold. We were seeing it about to break 4,500 yesterday night. Today it did the thing, so congratulations, gold. For whatever reason, I did not see Peter Schiff talk about it at all, so... I mean, he talked about it extensively yesterday. He spent the full day on Twitter trashing on all of us, but... hey, that's fine. We forgive him. We forgive his ignorance for not understanding the bitcoins. I have not even looked at my stock portfolio in a long time. Is there anything good? Coinbase is a little down. Might have to DCA here. This is just like full just DCA. Ooh, Broadcom is a little up. Apparently I bought here. If it approaches like... this is Canadian version of the stock, by the way, so it's not going to align with the American prices. But I think you guys kind of understand what I'm looking at. We approach this downtrend and validation. Should be overbought on it. Whatever the price is in American dollars, just look at the price action here. AMD 0% movement, it's kind of up. That means that investment should be up. Not by much though. I have Google apparently, and that is up. Might have to sell that. Have to wait for markets to open, which is cringe. Imagine waiting for markets to open, dude, in 2025. We won't really have to worry about that too much. The NASDAQ will be 24.5 next year, sometime next year. Mid next year. So we'll wait and see how that goes. Is there anything interesting on Polymarket? Republican presidential nominee of 2028, J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, Trump again, imagine. Can I bet no on Trump? What if he does? What if he does the thing where... did you guys hear about this? Where if J.D. Vance was running for president in 2028 and Trump is the vice president, once they get elected and they win, J.D. Vance is the president until he either steps down or, God forbid, gets assassinated or something, I don't know. The VP will have to replace him. And that's where Donald Trump steps in for his third term. Technically. That's the workaround. What else we got? Tucker Carlson, that's not going to happen. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she did talk about it, but I don't think it will. Ted Cruz, we did see that. That could happen. Trump Jr., I don't know how he would do. I don't know who Glenn Youngkin is. Ivanka Trump, imagine. Nah, she's not going to do it. Ryan Kemp, I've heard of that name, but I don't know much about it. Nikki Haley, I've also heard about that name. Tulsi Gabbard, that's crazy. Tulsi Gabbard was a Democrat, and now she's going to be Republican president. I wouldn't mind that. I would I wouldn't say I prefer, but I would like to see Tulsi Gabbard. Dude, Elon Musk can't run for president. This is the easiest no of my life. You're only getting $3 for this. And how long do I have to wait? November 7, 2028. Isn't this though? I was thinking about this in the shower. Isn't it in Polymarket where you buy like your position at this percentage? Like Elon Musk is at 1% right now for president. Okay, it's obviously not going to happen. If this rises to like 2%, I don't have to wait until whatever this is. I mean, I would have to buy yes in this case, right? Oh my gosh, the payout is huge. If this rises to like 2% for whatever reason, I could just cash out and I don't have to wait until November 7 of 2028, the election day, right? Pretty sure that's how it works. Maybe. I'm obviously not going to buy that. That's just stupid. Gavin Newsom for Democratic presidential nominee. Then you got AOC, Pete Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, Josh Shapiro, JB Pritzker, Wes Moore. I don't know the rest of these people. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. What? I didn't know he was Democrat. Dude. Michelle Obama. That was funny. When everybody was... there they were trashing on Joe Biden for his poor performance at the presidential debate against Trump last year. People were like, okay, well, we got to replace Joe Biden with someone. That someone is going to have to be a woman. Is it going to be Kamala Harris? Is it going to be Michelle Obama? A lot of people were actually thinking it was Michelle Obama until she's like, guys, no, stop it. Leave me alone. I'm not running for president. And then later on, Kamala Harris announced her run for president. Rokana is here. Mark Cuban. Barack again. That's not possible, right? You already served 2 terms. You can't do it again. Maybe. No, not maybe. It's absolutely confirmed he can't. Mr. Beast as Democrat? That's crazy. Why? Summarize? What do you mean? Oh, you could get sources from this? What does it say? Did he say that? I think he still has to wait a bit more. He might be too young for president. I think that was the why he couldn't be president. Okay, this is just not going to tell me. Whatever. Bernie Sanders. Why isn't Bernie Sanders up there? Come on. All right. That is all. I'm going to stop talking for this. Okay. Great. Wow, we somehow filled up the whole hour and 15 minutes now. Okay. Trying to check, is there anything else? No, not really. Okay, well, that concludes the stream for tonight, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you maybe tomorrow. Hard maybe. If not, then it will be... It's going to have to be on Friday. We'll see what happens by then. Take care.